Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Sarita. I have what is probably the final intentional summer candle for this season. We're going to be transitioning on this channel over into fall. It'll be a soft transition though, so we're definitely not going to be going full board pumpkin bonfire in the next week or two. But we're not going to be burning as many, as I said, intentionally summer candles. So today is our last one, and very appropriately, it has summer in the title. We are reviewing today this is one of the new Kringle Reserve candles. It is Summer Wish, and it's got this lovely little dandelion on the front. And for those of you who are Yankee people, this will be very reminiscent of a candle which is literally called Summer Wish from Yankee. Here's a picture of it. It also has a dandelion on the front with a child blowing it out. And it is also Summer Wish. I don't know how Kringle got away with that. It seems a little ballsy to be almost duplicating some marketing there from Yankee. I think I smelled that Yankee candle the last time I was at a Yankee Candle brick and mortar store, and I didn't think it was that memorable, and I don't remember a whole lot about it. I looked up the notes. It's kind of fruity and floral. It's probably a little bit on the generic side. This one is better than that, so let's talk about it. This came out in the most recent iteration of Reserve candles and hasn't gotten a whole lot of buzz. My lid popped off, which I don't love. I've been having some issues with the Kringle lids, especially on these tumblers, but even with some of the other ones too. So I'm just gonna pull that off for a second. As you can see, I've burned this about half. I've burned it halfway, which is quite a bit for a Kringle candle. These new Reserve ones are a little bit translucent in the black, which I kind of liked because I can see the flame through it, and it still gives that black aesthetic if you really like that. I've not been quiet about the fact that I don't love this aesthetic, but I do prefer the translucent to the completely opaque. So the notes on Summer Wish are top notes, fresh air, mint sprig. Mid notes, chamomile, wild lilies, and ballerina lavender. I don't actually know if that's a true lavender or if they're just trying to invoke some sort of like whimsical light lavender. Base notes are lemongrass, tonka bean, and summer musk. This was one of the only Reserve candles from this last iteration, and frankly from the last couple iterations of Reserve candles, that I thought I might be interested in. The rest of them are been fairly gourmand. So when I smelled this briefly when I hauled it. I can't remember back when. Oh, it was the Halloween haul, the recent Halloween haul that I had. I bought one of these and I smelled it, and I said that really all I was getting from it was like this kind of bright citron or lemon note in it. And I didn't know where that was coming from because the only lemon that is mentioned here is the lemongrass on the base notes. And as I've said, and I want to reiterate, lemongrass doesn't smell like, I mean, this is a true lemon. It's a true lemon note. Lemongrass is a very distinctive herbal and grassy note that has some lemon overtones to it, but I would say is much more distinctively herbal than citrus. And I'm not getting any of that herbal note in here, just citrus. Folks, this is why you burn up a candle though. When I burned it, I was getting a whole lot more than lemon, and I'm still getting lemon. But when I burned it, all of those notes that sounded so intriguing, but I was not catching on the cold sniff, came out. So once I burned it, I was getting a little bit of mint, just a little, was not overwhelming, little bit of mint, and a little bit of chamomile. But I would say not chamomile proper. It's a tea note. It's a tea note. Chamomile, again, has a very funky and unique kind of tea note that actually strikes me as less tea and more herbal. And again, you're not getting much of anything that's herbal here with the exception of that mint. But I would say that it's a soft black tea note. Now, it's not biting, it's not overwhelming, it's in that same soft category as the mint. So it's got a little bit of mint, a little bit of black tea that definitely comes forward. And yes, then there's like kind of a vague floral or a generic floral underneath it, which is the wild lilies. I think it's just wild lilies. Yeah, that would make sense because it's not like, I would say it's a mix between like that lemon note and the lilies. And so it's that floral citrus, which frankly is kind of the profile of some perfumes. And because it's not like a wet, juicy lemon, like a gourmand lemon, it's like a dry perfume note lemon. So you do get something a little bit perfumey about the candle, but I would say that soft and gentle is definitely like a really good catch-all descriptor for this candle. It's very well balanced. Nothing is too much. And many of these notes like mint, like tea, like the perfume note of the floral and the lemon, these could really go in an overwhelming direction, and it doesn't. It is beautiful. And I'm really glad that the tea note did come out as strongly as it did, because it was a little bit reminiscent of two things. Number one, tea time, a little bit, which is another really strong tea candle that we got from Kringle this year. It's not as strong as tea time, and it's mixed with a lot of other things. So tea time almost comes across as just a straight up tea, like Constant Comment, or something that you could drink. It's not mixed with a whole lot of other discernible elements to it. It's just that beautiful spicy and citrus black tea in all of its glory. This is a tea that is mixed with mint on one hand, with like something perfumey, floral, and citrusy on another hand. So it's definitely a conceptual candle rather than like a straight tea candle. But it does remind me of tea time in that beautiful, authentic tea note. And also, I think there was a Bath and Body Works candle that was, I know it's been coming out a lot, but I think it came out this year, and it was like sweet tea and lemon or something like that. You've got the lemon and you've got the tea note here. So it's just a little bit of that Bath and Body Works candle, which is admittedly very artificial and like Lipton tea, brassy and forward. Again, not brassy or forward. Beautiful, fragrant, but also light and gentle and well blended with a lot of other elements. But if you are a fan of like that lemon, sweet black tea kind of thing, this might kind of be your jam. I like it. I like it. I don't know that this is entirely my fragrance. I don't love perfumes, although some I like, okay. But just as a genre, I wouldn't say I'm a perfume person or even really a floral person. Mint, I would be a little wary of a mint note. Tea and musk, though, I could kind of get behind. And I like the herbal of the lavender and the lemongrass, although I'm not getting a whole lot of lavender in this. And like I said, not really a lot of lemongrass, it's really just kind of lemon. I don't know that it's entirely my scent, but I really appreciate it. And I think that actually Kringle does conceptual candles really beautifully. I think it's one of their strengths as a company. Performance. This is where, unfortunately, we have some negatives. So this is just way too light across the board. I would say that the strength and throw for me was between a 3 and a 5. And so if you are in like a very high ceiling, open concept kind of space, it's going to seem like a 3, unfortunately. And when I put it back in the master bedroom and closed it all up and came back 3 or 4 hours later, then it was kind of a 5. I don't know that it got up to a 5.5. I will say that the middle third of the candle seems to be pretty strong. So the first third of the candle was definitely on the shyer side of that continuum, but I have noticed that here in this mid third, I'm getting consistently close to a 4 or a 5. So that might be like the heart notes there of of the candle in terms of the way that it burns. I just think that for many people, 3 to 5 is kind of a deal breaker. It kind of is for me, to be honest. You don't want to spend over $30 on a candle that frankly you can't really smell. And so I don't know that Kringle necessarily needs to mess with this fragrance anymore. It's intriguing and it's nice, and the tea element kind of invokes spring a little bit. The volume just needs to be turned up, 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 up. And I think actually this would be a great candle for the country line. I'm going to just postpone again the come to Jesus conversation that we need to have about the reserve candles. There have been so many reserve candles from Kringle this year. I'm kind of hoping that this is our last set because I don't think they have been entirely successful. And I think that just conceptually, there needs to be more intention and purpose with the reserve candles. And 3 to 5 in terms of strength and throw is it's really under average, below average, even for the way that Kringle soy candles have been burning this year. That's unacceptable in a reserve line. It just is. So 3 to 5 in a reserve candle, absolutely no. But even if it was just in their regular line, I do think 3 to 5 is a little bit too light. I'd like to see this candle to be a strong 7. And if it was a strong 7, I think that would be fantastic. It does have perfumey tones. So you have to be careful with perfume when it gets above 7, because there are some people that are going to find that headache inducing with the floral and the perfume. Yeah. But I think it needs to be at least a 7. This would be beautiful in the country line. I'm envisioning very much similar to Yankee Candle. When I reviewed, I was like, I think Summer Wish is a Yankee Candle. And when I looked at it, I'm like, yes, that is exactly the marketing and aesthetic that I was envisioning for this. This should be in the country line, and it should have a beautiful colored wax, maybe a light powder blue or something like that. I just think it's made for that country line. We've had a lot of country candles this year that have been, let's be frank, mediocre gourmands. But frankly, I love the country candle line. We've had a lot of conceptual candles and some very successful ones in that country line. I think this is made for that country line with a beautiful colored wax. And what I love about this is that it's a transitional scent. You almost could burn this right now with that note of black tea. It's going a little bit cozy, you know, and it's got some like herbal elements. You could burn that late summer into fall. And if you wanted to pick one up, this would also be good early spring. So I'm not getting enough ozone or fresh air in it for it to be like a true middle of spring, late spring, summer kind of candle, but it is a good early spring one where we're not quite outdoors yet, but it's almost like we're making a wish for summer. We want it to be summer, or as we're doing right now, poof, it's gone. So I think marketing wise, it's actually really versatile, and it's a versatile fragrance. Those are the positives here. I love the versatility of the fragrance and the marketing. I would just like to see this with a beautiful spring or summer colored wax in the country line, and the volume needs to be turned up to about a 7. That's what needs to happen. I went on the Kringle website today and it is sold out, and I'm really surprised by that. I'm pretty sure it didn't sell out because people were buying it. There's been hardly any buzz on this candle, and it's basically into the fall. Many people are buying fall candles. So I wonder if they just pulled it off the website and are reserving it. Reserve, see what I did there? They are reserving this reserve candle for another time, or they sold it to a lot of resellers. Because I've been noticing that there have been a lot of resold Kringle candles at places like Belk, or in the Northeast, there is this paper store that they've been selling a lot of the Kringles at. So I wonder if they just kind of sold them off to various different retailers at this point. I'm going to go ahead and link the information down below because, like I said, I just find it very hard to believe that it's sold out from popular demand. And I think it's a nice candle. Just adjust your expectations about strength and throw for this iteration and see if it's not something you like. Because again, Kringle does conceptual so well, and I think frankly, we have wanted and needed some conceptual candles in that country line this year, and have kind of been cheated out of them. I don't know why this would be a reserve as opposed to a main line. That's what I've got for you, my friends. Summer is over. It's wonderful to see you today, and I'll catch you in the next one.